I don't like my mind right.
Hmm. Okay. Oh, there we go. Finally. Holy shit. My gear just fucking sucks. Alright, we got the sound. We got the sound. Alright, yeah. So what I was saying is, I'm kind of looking at this blog post for Nancy Pelosi's trades. And basically the takeaway here is that, hey man, look at her 1 year returns. She's basically managed to beat the S&P. And all she did was, was make some very interestingly timed purchases. So, for instance, she was able to get Tesla, Disney around stimulus news, Nvidia before this, and then she also timed the Netflix buy as well. So now, we're not necessarily saying she committed insider trading, it's just that she has a lot of really good timing. So, I highly recommend this link, and if you go to unusualwhales.com, I'll post it in the chat. It's you look at this and it's just like, wow. The website itself is really good. By the way, if you're looking for like volume for looking at order flow information and a bunch of like what the other people in the trading space are doing, I think it's actually quite interesting. And so this is actually a really good website to go on, especially if you want to increase like your financial knowledge and knowledge of like how markets work. And they always come up with some pretty good and interesting information as well. So I might actually just like buy myself a subscription just because like this is actually kind of cool to look at. Not necessarily because I would act on it, but because it's actually really interesting to just read and get access to information. Anyway, so really quickly, I'm going to be trying to talk with my client. We've been working with him for like about 3 months now, and hopefully he's been practicing from the practicing for his upcoming interviews. But let's see what he says, and hopefully the Christmas break didn't, affect him too much.
Recording in progress. Recording stopped.
Hey man, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing good.
All right, yeah, catch me up on everything. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and all that.
Yeah, happy holidays. Yeah, I spent I would say like last weekend and stuff, like just the holidays, so I didn't really do much. And I guess like Monday, Tuesday, I started getting back into it. It was mostly like reading on DDIA, just like brushing up like my knowledge as well as doing some lead coding as well. And then past 2 days was like, I was trying to study, but also was just constantly like kind of nervous just because like recruiter told me that today my packet's gonna get reviewed at Google, so it was just like hard to focus at work and also at study in the past 2 days. But yeah, I finally got the news today in the morning that packet got approved, although it's at L3 at Google. So just gonna have to give him a number for him to go talk to the compensation team. So probably do that over the weekend, and yeah, that's all that's all I have.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say that Google is not likely to uplevel you.
Yeah.
And if they come out, unless you explicitly told the recruiter, hey, or asked the recruiter, if I came back with an L4 from Facebook and Uber, would you consider me for the uplevel?
Yeah.
Did you ask him?
No, because I haven't got a chance to ask him. I did ask. He was gonna be off. Like we had the chat, and then he was gonna like take the rest of the day off, and then like he won't be working until next year. So probably chat with him on Tuesday, I think. That's when everyone goes back to work, and then ask him and see how that goes. Because either way, like I'll have to get back to him to talk about compensation.
That's fine. Yeah. So let me actually share my screen. Let's actually talk a little bit about the compensation thing.
Okay. Because he didn't tell me to just give him a number. He told me like to give him like, what I expect for base, like what I expect for stock and all that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, I'm looking at these numbers here. I can tell you that if they really want you, they will break these bands straight up. I take that from personal experience because I got an offer for L3 at Google that broke this completely at I think 225 total first year compensation. And based on everything that we've said and done, I'm pretty sure they are willing to break it and then go higher. They could go. They go at least 225. I'm sure 250 first year is not unreasonable for you, especially if you come at them with like some really high offers.
Yeah.
But mostly it'll be like in stock compensation, not in the base.
Yeah. Like I like you said, like up level is probably like not possible. So I'm trying to see like if I can kind of score like a pretty high like offer from Uber. Like say if I do pass the mid-level interview, like I could come back and say like, hey, I know you guys, even if you guys are not able to like up level me, would it be possible to kind of match it in some way? So that's kind of what I'm hoping to do.
Okay. And remind me of your Amazon offer again. Wait, let me look at the sheet again. 'Cause I know you have a pretty high what's it called offer from them as well.
Yeah. Amazon's one was TC was about like I think when you did the stock calculations and all that, it came out to be like around like 200 to 205, somewhere around there.
Wait, yeah. Let me pull up the details again.
Okay.
Give me a sec. So. Yeah. Okay. But otherwise, like now that you've gotten over that hump, do you feel like more relaxed? Do you feel how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I definitely feel more relaxed knowing that at least it got approved by a hiring committee. But like the last 2 days was just like it was just hard to focus. But at least now I could like I feel a lot more relaxed and I could just like fully focus on like pushing for the last like I guess 10 days. Because my Uber on site is gonna be under 10. I'm gonna ask the recruiter and see like if they can expedite the process, the feedback process after the interview. Because I'm just hoping to be done as soon as I can, so that could be done with all this. Like mentally, like I'm okay to kind of study, but on a general like side, I guess like I just want to be done with all of this as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I totally understand. So let's actually get to that part in a little bit.
Okay.
And I actually there's something interesting I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
So first, look. This is your Amazon offer, right? 150 base,
Okay.
150 base, 28 stocks vested over 4 years. So 28 stocks is about like 92K with 92K, 47K sign on, and then 35K after that, right? So let's just say approximately 150K plus 92 divided by 4 plus 47. Your first year comp actually works out to be about what? Let's approximate this to be, I guess, 100K, just for the sake of easiness.
So are we just kind of ignoring the fact that it's backloaded?
I'm ignoring the second year. I mean, I could add it later on, but
yeah. Okay.
So what? That's 175. So that's like approximately 225, just give or take, and then 35. This because it's their first year, right?
Yeah.
And then second year would just be like plus 35, so which means 225 is like what? 215 the second year.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's gonna go down to 175K, assuming zero appreciation. And so like across the first 3 years, right? It's gonna be about what 454. Let's see, that's 440, 40 plus one.
And that's even not even considering like the fact that they may have refreshers, right?
Yeah, this is like not counting refreshers. We're just taking
Okay.
everything at face value for now.
Okay.
So that's about 615K over 3 years. And then what was like your Google offer so far?
No, they didn't give me a number. He wanted me to give him a number so that he could go talk to the compensation team. That was kind of weird, but he wanted me to let him know like what I expect for like base, stock, as well as sign on. So I'm definitely like trying to give him a pretty high number just because like so that in case they want to negotiate it down, and like I wouldn't let them push it too down because like Amazon's offer is already like at that level.
So basically, our lowest mark we are ever gonna go is 225. But I know that you put I would say a 10% premium on that. I think you could push the minimum I would say is 230 to 235. But actually, let's say 230, 235 base. Like this is our absolute minimum because Amazon's definitely gonna be worth more. Your other negotiating power, like I said, is gonna be in whether or not you get the Uber plus Facebook offers. Now, I think we talked about this that you'd probably be more happy taking an L3 at Google than a Uber or Facebook L4. I think you mentioned that, right?
Yeah. Well, just because like I only because I also met the manager at Google, and like he seems pretty accommodating in terms of like what people look for. Like he mentioned, like some people on his team just want to chill and don't want to progress that quickly, and that's fine. And some people who are more aggressive can do that. And like we even chatted about like promotions and stuff, and like we talked about my experience, and he said like typically people at Google take like 2 years, like you mentioned, but he said like if needed, it could also be done in like a year or like 18 months. So I'm not too worried about like the promotion path. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if that's the case, I think you can easily ask for 235 plus, like literally break the levels.fyi bands if you have to, and I think you can justify that. The L4 offers from Uber and Facebook just help solidify that. But since you've already kind of made up your mind that, to do this, then it doesn't really make much sense to go all in on Uber and Facebook. My hope was to leverage the shit out of those offers and make Google retest you.
I see.
That was my hope, but we don't know unless the recruiter comes back. So these next 5 days, like until you get that confirmation, I'm gonna say just pretend like we still have that card to play. So I would say still try to work hard, but that's up to you.
Okay. And I guess so. I'll let you know on Tuesday about the retesting. Once whenever I get the confirmation from him.
Okay. So let's actually I mean, this is more just for my ego. I don't care if you accept Uber or Facebook. This is more like I want to know that you can get the L4 offer, even if you don't intend on taking it. But how do you feel about it?
Yeah, like that's the other thing too. Like even though like I don't really intend much on taking it, I'm like very interested in testing like my system design interviewing skills, just because like we've been kind of working on this, and like it's gonna be like something that I would need to work on eventually down my career path. So that's so like offers aside, everything aside, like I'm pretty interested in still like testing my skills at the system design interview.
I'm gonna say okay. So let's start. So for the next few days, let's just pretend like we still have that card to play. I'm gonna say right now your odds are probably around like 30% that this works. But let's moonshot it, because we're already here anyway. What's another 5 days? Like, are you gonna take the 5 days off and just like fuck around, or take 5 days to just like go for that 30%? It's very little risk for a lot of potential reward. At least that's the way I see it. Anyway, so to wrap up this whole conversation on on offers, I would suggest like these numbers: 150K for Google. I know they might push back on it, but if that's the case, then shift everything over to stock and add a 1.5 multiplier to it. I think that once you have the Uber and Facebook offers, you can leverage the shit out of it. So then I would say probably 100K in stock is nothing. I think you can push for, let's see, I would say 125. You probably get only like 30K sign on. That's probably Google. It probably will give you this, but I think this is like probably within ballpark.
Yeah. This looks reasonable too.
Yeah, give or take a few numbers, you know. Plus 30k. So this actually comes out to be 212. So 211. So
Yeah.
then what you can do is actually jack this stock up, I think. Let me actually see
Yeah.
what levels set.
Yeah, I was even planning to just ask them like for like 160 base, just because like you know, in case they want to negotiate down, and also because I know Amazon might potentially come back with a slightly higher offer. I'm still waiting on that. Because I chatted with the recruiter and like I asked her if there's any flexibility to move, like, you know, to get more stocks or anything like that, and she said she'd go ask around and get back to me. So
Okay.
I plan to just ask for a little higher.
I know if you're very competent, like look at these bands. This is like if you're distributed systems L3, but these are guys with PhDs, you know, and with very high years of experience. You're
Yeah.
not gonna be able to like get to 300k. I know that for sure.
Yeah. I don't think that's. I don't expect to get 300k either way.
Yeah,
But I was
but
just hoping to get like a higher, like higher amount, like off 200.
I think you get like something similar to this if we are talking, or like yeah, I would say that even this is within your ballpark if you can prove, what's it called, that you deserve it from like Facebook and Uber. So this is very doable for you. So let's take these numbers. I would say 70k, so that's like 210, 210k, and 30k. These are like the numbers I would personally go with, if I were you. But you might not be able to get away with it. This would probably be like a a starting position.
Yeah.
But that is somewhat reasonable. It's like, it's like if you start the negotiation off saying I want 500k salary, that's not gonna happen. But at least starting here, and then proving it with like these offers, I think is a very strong hand to play. This would come out to about 250k salary.
Yeah.
What do you think about this number here?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Plus, they also have like performance bonuses as well as on-call like extra pay, because I'll be working in the org I'll be in has like on-call, and they pay extra as well for that.
Perfect. As long as you're happy with the salary and you're happy with the position, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. I like like, you know, like a little difference in salary is not gonna be too bad. Like I'm more interested in like the actual career path and like the things I'll be working on, engineering wise. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so glad we did this exercise. I think like in the future, probably, definitely getting a actual negotiator. This is just me like going off my experience and the numbers that I know people have gotten. Plus this is like, if your first year here is 225, going 250 here was like a what 10%, 10-12% premium, and as long as you scored really well. Like, did they say how high you scored?
No, they didn't tell me about that. That's the other thing I have in mind to ask my recruiter now that we're past the you know, reviewing stage and all that. I guess like it's safer for me to ask, because I think like before that he would be a little more careful in answering that question. But I guess like at this point it should be safer for me to ask for that information.
Yeah, so I think that going by what I've seen, so this is like kind of how Google does it. You know, they have strong, higher,
Yeah.
Neutral, no higher.
I think it's
strong.
it's like strong higher, lean no higher, no
Yeah.
higher, and strong no higher.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, this is Amazon L3 just for the record. And Google L3. Yeah. So one of my earliest clients, she actually got like basically almost all strong hires except for one hire, like literally perfect marks. And I think her offer was like between 210 to 220, if I remember right. And she was straight out of school with a like a master's, right? And I think we can command a pretty high premium over that. So like 210 to 220, depending on how you scored, right? So this is assuming that you scored pretty similarly. And I'm pretty sure you did based on our conversation, or maybe 1 or 2 points down. So this is like 4 strong, higher, 1 higher, masters, right? And then you can score this with, because you can, as long as you hit the score, then it's like 10 to 15% premium. Plus you have the Facebook brand as well, which is a little bit stronger than masters in my opinion. And then all that is left to solidify this is these offers. So
I'm hoping to know more, but like I get the general sense that it shouldn't be too bad, because like I mean, I never mentioned about like wanting to push for L4 until he just like mentioned that he's gonna try to push for it. So I'm guessing like, you know, the feedback should be like pretty positive if he thought of doing it. But I'll get more details from him.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you know what to do. You know what we're aiming for here. I don't need to say much else here. With that, let's actually do 1 round of coding and 1 round of system design, just to check and make sure that we're on pace.
Okay.
My concern is that you might have rusted a little bit, so let's go ahead.
Yeah.
So. let me. So I mean, we've worked for so long that I think that you might have seen a lot of the questions that I'm asking.
Yeah.
So like, just let me know. But I kind of want to go back to a very old problem that we did before.
Okay.
Let's see. Because honestly, like you're pretty much exhausted all my problems that I've done. So that I've given. So let's do something very classic. So I want you to serialize and deserialize a general n-ary tree.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I guess I'll start off. Let's see. I know I've done this, but I still want to kind of take my time with it as well. Okay. So obviously, like we want to kind of put it in a format that we could kind of deserialize later. Like right off the bat, if this was like not an n-ary tree, I kind of like doing something with I guess like the traversal. I don't remember the name of it, but you would basically start off with the left child and then, oh, actually the root and then the left and then the right. Typically what I like doing, and I guess we could use this pretty similar approach here. We will start off with the root and then we'll iterate through the children. I guess like depending on like how many we have, we just go from left to right. I guess in this case, it could be like from 0 to like n, where n is the number of children this root has. Let's see what options we have. One way, I guess, like we could do this is, let's see, with the given tree, we could maybe do something like A, B, and let's see, we have B, C, D. Okay. If B, C, and D do not have any children, we could do something like this. And since they do, we could even go inside and do something like E, F, and then F has K in it. C has no children, we kind of stop there. D, I, E, yeah, H, J. So this is kind of what I'm thinking in terms of like serializing. But I guess we also do need some kind of way to know like when to stop, or like just to kind of like mark the I guess like empty children. I'm just wondering like if this is currently sufficient, or if I need to mark, say like at E, I would have to mark like something like this in order to indicate that this has nothing else. Let's see. If I were to deserialize this, how would I do it? I would start the root. Okay, I initialize the root. Let's start with, say if it was just this, would I be able to kind of do it efficiently? Say we start with A, when we get to the left parentheses, we want to deserialize it. Now this is children, we want to return this in the end. Okay. I'm also kind of debating if I should like try to flesh this out completely, or if I should like kind of dive into like just focus on the serialization part right now before doing the other one. I guess this is more of a two-part problem. We could kind of focus more on the serialization part right now.
Sure.
So essentially, I guess like if I have to write down my idea, it would kind of be like I would start with the root. Say we have like some kind of way to kind of build out a string or like some kind of array. We want to save the current node, I guess like roots value, and then for each children, we recurse into it and get its value, or you can say I guess like the string of it, or serialization.
Okay. So when you say you recurse into it, do you know what your node class is going to approximately look like?
Yeah. So let me clarify that. So my node class is probably going to look like something like we have a value and we have a children. This is an array. So I would kind of do something like for children and children, I call the same function onto them, and this function will return a string, which is the serialization of that child. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I understand what you're doing here.
Okay, so yeah, so I could also show this. Let me grab the example from birth. So say I have A, and I have the first child is going to be B. So I'm going to call the function on B, and B is going to return something like this. Just this part up to here.
Why would
E, F, K.
Okay, B owns E, F. Okay, I see.
Yeah. So B is gonna call that function on E as well as F, and F is gonna call it on K, and then that kind of returns, and you get the point. So and then once we get that value back, we want to add it to our I guess like to this current node, or you can say it's a root string, and we want to kind of wrap it with like the left parentheses with like value return by child and the right parentheses. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So this is the general idea. I'm just trying to see like I'm still thinking if we want to do anything with the empty child, if we need to mock that in some way. For now, like serialization, I think this works. I'm just more worried about the deserialization, but I don't think it's a hard thing to add if we ever find out that we need it. So I guess I can kind of get started with this if you think this is okay.
Okay, I think that's fine. I think it's perfectly reasonable.
Okay, sounds good. So let me define my node class as well, just to be more clear. The value return. And the same solution. I will be doing a root. If you just simply return an empty string. Let's see. We have an array. This is the array that we're going to use to build the string. We're going to first append the current node's value, and then we're going to start recursing it to the children.
Okay.
Chat in node.children. And say substring. Oh, I guess like child string.
Yeah, don't worry about the auto capitalization. I know what you're doing, so.
Okay, and like I mentioned before, I'm just gonna append delef.
Okay.
String and right parentheses.
Sure.
And then in the end, I just have to return string array. I think that should be it from a face value. I just want to go through it and see if this works. Let's actually go with the example, but I'm gonna scan through my code once before I actually go through the example. Serialize, okay. We just call the return array. Okay, I think this seems reasonable.
Okay.
Let's actually try it out. So if we start with an empty string, empty array, we append A to it, and then first string is going to be B. So we're going to B, we add B into it, and then first children is going to be E, and E is going to call on, I guess, like, well, E has no children. So E is not going to run this part of the code.
Okay.
E is just going to have a single string in the array, which is this, and B it's just going to return E. And then when it returns E, we kind of append.
I'm just going to copy this just for the sake of clarity, but yeah.
Okay. And then the string becomes this now when
Okay.
E returns.
Okay.
And then next children in B is going to be F. And then F is going to call it on K. And K has no children, so same case, it's going to return this string itself. And then this will become K, because we wrap it. And then there's no more, we return that. And we wrap that children as well. So it becomes something like this. And then we finally return this entire part. And because this is a child of A, we're just gonna wrap it here, and then do this. And I guess like from this point on, I think it makes sense that it should be good for the rest because we covered everything we needed to in terms of the code. So
yeah,
in terms of empty child, we just return an empty string, which doesn't affect the resulting string. And we also check the part where if there's no child, we're just gonna return the.
Okay. I just noticed something here. In your test string, this is. I think it should be this, right? Yeah, I think you might have. Oh wait, no. Did you make a risk? I'm looking at your test string. I think your code right. I'm looking at the test string that you proposed. I think you might have missed something here. This parenthesis shouldn't be here based on what you just said. No.
No, it should. Yeah, no, it should still be there because F is a child of B.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. I see. That's my fault. Okay, I see what you're doing. Okay, so then should this? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let me do this. I think this would make it clearer.
Yeah, I think I'm just like dyslexic as fuck right now. Okay,
okay,
so
that's okay.
Okay, F is K. Yeah. I'm wondering. Yeah. Thanks. Good. Okay. I'm wondering if it should just be this. No.
Yeah. It should just be. I guess
an extra one here. So.
Yeah. I just type an extra one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's just a lot of parentheses going on.
That's fine. I
understand
what you're doing, though.
Essentially it looks like this. As you can see, like we just append. We only wrap it when it's returned by the child string, like recursive call.
Right. So for every single character, you take a child and then wrap that with a bounded parenthesis here. That's basically
So basically how I like to think about this problem is that we want to serialize the children first, and then when they are returned, we're just gonna wrap it in the left and right.
Oh wait, no. This actually is supposed to have the parenthesis. Actually, that's my fault too. Yeah. I'm losing it here, man. Yeah. This F is bound. This E is bound. Yeah. No. You should have the extra parenthesis. Don't worry. Your code is right. Your code is right. I'm just trying to make sure the sample's right. You're fine.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay, sounds good. So do you have any concerns regarding this? I guess you did mention before about like me assigning a new array every time. That could take a lot of resources, but let's just move on to the serialization, and then we can come back to this if you want to talk about it later.
If it becomes a problem, yeah.
Okay. So let me take this and copy it down here and see how we can do it. Okay. So before I dive straight into this, I kind of like to try it with a simpler example. So let's say we don't have any children after B, C, and D. So this is pretty much what we get in terms of serialization. So we know that as we're processing a substring, I know this is a string itself, but say we go, this could also be a substring if this was a node to some parent node.
Sure.
Every time we process a string or like a substring, we know the value up to the first left parentheses is gonna be like value of parent node. And then when we hit a left, we want to get the child node. and I guess like when it hits the right, we want to return. Okay, I guess I should frame it this way. We do this by, I guess like it could be recursion or it could be using a stack. I'm just thinking like we just want to process it. Is what I mean. When we get a left parentheses, we know we want to process this substring to get the child node's value, and then when it hits a right parentheses, and this right, I gotta clarify that this right has to be the corresponding right parentheses to the left mentioned above here. And when we do get that corresponding right parentheses, we just want to return the node. In this case, it will be the truant. So I guess like in this case, you know, if in this case this is pretty simple. We have A, we initialize this node, and then when we hit the left parentheses before B, we kind of do we want to process the substring inside that. And then when we hit right, because it's the corresponding one, we know we can just return B. And we initialize B as a out of A, so we would then have this. And then as we continue to process, we get to C. We do the same thing, and we could also assign C and subsequently D. I guess the question becomes like, what if it has like multiple layers?
Right. And not just that, you've defined your class to be an array, so you need to pre-size your array as well.
I guess why don't you couldn't I just append to the array?
Okay, how does array management memory work, do you think?
I know in Java and C++ you have to like initialize and give it like a bound.
Okay.
But in Python I know like they just I forgot what is the limit. I forgot if it's like 50% or 75%, but when you hit that they allocate a lot more, like twice the space. So yeah, I think the array in Python is more like an array list in Java.
Okay. I actually don't know the answer to this question. I was just gonna ask because usually arrays are usually solid blocks of memory, but and then I probably would have accepted that you changing the structure to a list, but that's probably something to at least know a little bit about.
Yeah. So I guess in Python the array or like the list is more like an array list in Java. If that helps clarify what we're doing here.
Okay, I mean, as long as you acknowledge that's a problem, so and you understand how it works, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, like worst case, if this becomes a problem, like one extra thing we can do is we can always when we do serialize it, we can also mark it with like the amount of children we have, with like some kind of counter, and we could just kind of do like something like B4 or like with a comma to separate it, and then. This would cause a lot more complexity, but this is not like undoable. If we have, as we traverse into the children, we can just or like get the length of the node's children and append that counter.
Okay, I get what you're trying to do. Don't worry about that for now. Just finish up the problem. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess like back to the problem. We're at A, we go into B, and if we hit this left parentheses, I guess we would just kind of do something similar. You can kind of do this recursively, but I guess we could also kind of do a scan through the iterative way by using a stack. So the moment we hit the left parentheses, we could kind of just push the current node back into the stack. I'm just trying to see like how this will work with multiple churn, and because the problem here is more about parsing values correctly and also assigning to the correct parent node. That's kind of what I want to be careful about. So let's actually see how this would work. So say if we were to do this example up here, we first process A. So there's nothing in the array yet. Process A, and then we hit the left parentheses right before B. Say we push A into the stack, and then we process B, and then we hit the left parenthesis before E, push B into the stack. Then we process E.
Okay.
And then we hit a right parentheses. I guess that's when we want to return if we were to do this recursively.
Okay.
But I guess like if we're doing it with a stack, instead of like returning, I would want to pop the the parent node out, so B, and then assign E as a children of B.
Okay, I see.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put away E right now, and you can assume that E is already tracked in B.
Okay, that's fine.
And then I get to the right parentheses again. I pop the top of the stack, and then I assign B to A.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay. And then I get to left parentheses again, so I would then do the same thing of like putting the current node, which is going to be A, into the stack, and then process C. I hit the right parentheses, I pop it off, assign it to A. From here, left parentheses, I add it to it again, and repeat the same process. And this is going to pretty much work for the entire string.
Okay. I see what you're doing. All right, I think that's acceptable. A little too much push and pop for my taste, but we can talk about how to optimize it later.
Okay. I'm just gonna write a quick summary here. So let's see. Process, or I guess pause current node value. If so, this also means we want to create a node, and then if left parentheses, we add current node to stack and process next, I guess, character. Right, friend, we pop the top of the stack and assign the current node as a child to the top node. I think that's pretty much it. And then in the end, we're just gonna return the node. Here, I'm just gonna assume for now, for simplicity, is it okay if I just assume that the values are always just gonna be one character in terms of like length?
Yeah, that's fine for now.
Okay, yeah. If we want to, we can later define a helper function to kind of help parse that string. But for now, we can just kind of go with that. I'm gonna use the same node class as above, so I'm just gonna write the solution class over here. I'm gonna do something similar in terms of structuring my solution. Yeah, this time we have a string.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I'll also have a I guess like if sorry, doing this iteratively, so let's see. So I guess we want a index to just kind of a pointer, I guess. Let's name it index 0. We have the index moving on. Let's just do okay. We have a node. Fine. And then next one. So like I mentioned before, if it's a left parentheses, we just add current node to a stack. I'm just assuming this is going to be a valid string. We can add checks later if we want to make sure it's not valid. I mean, if it's a valid string or not. But at this point, if we do encounter a left parentheses, we know that node is already going to be initialized to some value.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, that's in line with our idea. Yeah, sure.
And then we set the current node to node variable to the parent node.
Okay.
Yeah. And then at the very end of the string, assuming this tree has children, the very last character of the string is going to be the right parentheses, and we're going to pop the actual root node in the last case. So this is going to be root node, and then we set node back to root, and we're going to return the node. In the case that this tree does not have any children, it's just the root node. When we do this processing, we are just going to do this, and we're going to end, and then we're just going to return that.
Okay.
So let's actually try out with the example we have up here. So this is my index pointer. Initially, okay, it's not a left or right. So we initialize a node. So node is going to be A.
Sure.
And then we move the pointer to left parentheses. Let's see. Okay, we add A to the stack.
Wait, hold up. So did you initialize node at all? Yeah, okay, yeah, you did. You good. Okay, that's fine. Yeah,
I did.
Good. All right, keep going.
Okay. And then we go to B. So let me, before I go to B. So I'm at the left parentheses. I'm just gonna append the node to stack. Okay.
Okay, what's the value of node right now? Okay, yeah, node is it. What's value node?
A.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah, keep going.
And then we go to B. So at B, this is not a left nor a right. So we're gonna reinitialize node to a new node. So node is now gonna be B. Is that clear?
Okay, that's fine.
I go to left and I move on. I hit a left parentheses again. And node is now currently B. So I'm gonna append that to the stack as well. Move on to E. Do the same thing. So node is now E. I guess I'll do this. Yeah, node is now E. And then we hit right parentheses. Okay. So this is where we pop parent. So parent is going to be B. And then we say parent's children. We append E to it. So so yeah, B has E right now, but node is still initialized to E. And then the next line, I'll reinitialize node to the parent node. So node is now going to become B.
Okay, that's fine. And I know B
and
has
then we,
right, this little child for E to represent the child. It's fine.
Yeah, okay. And then we get to left parentheses again, and then we append B into it.
Okay, that's fine.
I guess it is still B right now because we haven't reinitialized it. And then when we get to F, we reinitialize it. Comes to F now. Get to K. Get to left parentheses. We put F into it. Then we get K. After K, we pop the parent, which is going to be F. And then we assign K to F. Okay, let's see. Then we move on. K to F, and we also initialize node to F. We hit a right parentheses again. So we have to pop E. So this is going to be B, E now. This is going to be F. Okay, yeah.
Sure.
And then we put K here. Okay.
I mean,
And then we
I
hit.
get the string representation is supposed to be like attached to F. I get it.
Okay, that's good. So yeah, and then once we get here, we do the same exact thing, but before that, we also do reinitialize this. Then we pop A. It's now here. Then I assign this entire thing as a children, and node is now going to be this entire thing, and we kind of repeat the same process with the two other.
Okay, I'm convinced.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Time and space complexity.
Okay. So let's go back to the serialization. Time-wise, we'll be processing each node once, essentially. So I would say kind of time is O of n, where n is the number of nodes. Space, yeah, let's see. I guess like on average, like, we would, if this is a fairly balanced tree, I would kind of do like the height of the tree, which would be log n. I guess let's see. I guess in the case that if it's like very very skewed, kind of like a linked list, it could go up to worst case O of n.
And are you talking about like the call stack or your string or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is gonna be call stack, and I guess like in at the very end we do a joint, but the amount of joints we'll be doing here still kind of correspond to the amount of nodes we have. So I would say like asymptotically it would still be of height of the tree average case, and in worst case it would be O of n for the call stack as well.
Sure. Okay, I understand where you're going with this. All right.
Okay. And then
go ahead.
deserialize pretty much. I would get, I guess like time and space. Would this be a O of n, where n here is actually the length of the string? Yeah, I guess like space would be a little less than that, just because like we are not adding. So space is mainly going to be used by the stack, but I guess like we won't be adding like left and right parentheses into the stack. So space would be a little less than n, but you get the point of like how many nodes we have. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll stop it there. But yeah, like time space is n. Yeah. For both cases, either way. Yeah. So you only spent 32 minutes on that problem, by the way. How do you feel?
I feel okay about this. Like I feel like I spend a little extra time on the serialization part, just wondering if I want to add any markers for the empty nodes. So I feel like I could have saved like myself like maybe 2 to 3 minutes there, but I think everything else was okay in terms of serialization. Deserialization, I feel like my approach was okay, but not the best, in the sense that I feel like as I was writing it, this whole reinitializing and initializing was a little confusing, because I had to kind of explain it, and like I know like if I wasn't the one who wrote the code, it would take me a while to kind of wrap my head around in terms of like what's going on. But that was also because I was debating between like iterative or recursive. So I feel like the for serialization I don't have much to say, but for deserialization I feel like it could be done cleaner, and I could have also saved myself a few more minutes if I decided early on to do it either recursively or iteratively.
Okay.
So I think I like mentally I was kind of thinking like back and forth between those two approaches.
That's fine. Yeah, I get the point. I think I would think you might be a little bit obsessed with the time. So let's actually go with this. Look at the timestamps here, and I'm going to point out something. So, yeah, I think acknowledging class structure would probably be something to do first. Again, these are all mostly small nitpicks.
Yeah.
I think you were entertaining the idea that you need to handle the empty children case efficiently is actually fine. It's like, oh, am I doing this the right way? Well, what do you want to do? The question is, what do you want to give up in exchange for that? So let me ask you. So let's say you decide to add more strings to handle the empty case. What are you giving up? What are you getting?
So what I'm getting wise would be, I guess, like more explicit.
Okay.
A more explicit format.
Yeah.
When I get the extra string, and giving up would be like pretty much like more space, because that means like the end result of the string would be longer.
Yep. And so yeah, like you get more clarity in the string, but then you give up space. I think that's a perfectly fair question to ask. And honestly, that'd be a question I would have to ask the interviewers. Like, hey, I could do it this way, but we would give up this. And I think that's perfectly fine as long as you acknowledge what the trade-offs are. And he might be saying, yeah, I want you to do it this way, or no, let's do it without it. But as I think that you debating it is perfectly valid, actually.
Okay.
As long as you understand why you're debating it and what benefits there are to entertaining it. Also, I would also argue that since you have to deserialize it, an empty open close bracket to represent no children would kind of help you for instruction as well. It just depends on what the problem is going to want in the future, but that's getting ahead of ourselves. I think you have the basic mechanics down and you did it pretty efficiently. If you look at this, like you basically spent the first 13 minutes gathering the knowledge and trying to sort out the problem, and then you spent the next 20, I would say 18 minutes doing the second part of the problem. So this is actually pretty good, pretty fast, I would say. I don't think you could get much faster without starting to risk being less safe. I think the little memory management thing is a definitely interesting tidbit. I'd be a little bit more confident in this idea, so maybe knowing a way around language. But for the most part, I didn't see any glaring issues. I think just these are really small nitpicks. So language features might be something you might want to do a quick brush up on.
Yeah.
Other than that, I go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. No, I know they do. They allocate it dynamically, kind of like PHP. So that's why when you asked me that question, I kind of like caught me off guard for a bit.
Yeah. I mean, language features are actually a pretty core thing. I remember I got asked a few, how does threading work in Java? I was like, oh shit,
Okay.
And memory management as well, what's the how garbage collection works and all that. Is that all it is just reference to objects and a tree underneath the hood? Yeah. So I remember if they really want to hurt you that day, they have ways. And it's just just being covering yourself for the very basics. Asking you how actually that whole garbage collection thing works is kind of a bit much. But overall, again, I didn't see any glaring issues. I think your ability to break down the problem is pretty good.
Okay.
It's a much bigger difference than, remember our first coaching session?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So even the first time you gave me this problem too, I also feel like there's a big difference between now and this is the second time you gave me this problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, even the first time between now and then and now, I feel like there's a big difference too.
Yeah, let me actually see the last time I gave you this problem was 11-1, so that's 2 months ago. Yeah, and we started in the beginning of October or something. Yeah, so literally 2 months, and it's that's a pretty big difference when I think you basically weren't able to get through the second part of the problem.
Yeah, I had an idea, we kind of talked about it, but it wasn't solid enough, and I didn't actually end up coding it. I'm only done the first part. Perfect. Months ago.
Okay, so then let's switch gears to the system design interview. Let me go ahead and restart the timer. Which problem should I give you? Because we've definitely done a lot.
Yeah, I know we've done Tinder. Well, Tinder was more like a product one. We have also done, I've done Dropbox myself. And I think we did Instagram the last time.
Mm-hmm. Did you do LeetCode competition or Twitter newsfeed?
No, I don't even know how LeetCode competition works like.
Okay, how about this? How about a Yelp? Did we do Yelp check-in system?
No, we didn't do that.
Okay, we can do that one. This one's gonna be a little bit harder, and I mean, I could make what's it called tiny URL one, but that makes it way harder, and I would literally just grudge on that. But let's do Yelp.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Where's your cursor
out? Give me a second.
Yeah.
this. Actually, let me initiate sharing. Chat. Okay, you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Cool. All right, let me bring this over here. Let me go ahead and delete some of the items. Let me just drop some stuff in here so you have your cache, document database in case you need it, database, server, let's say our end user, Baby Yoda again. And then let's see what else. Multi-instance, yes. Okay, CDN just in case you need it. Add pipeline, message queue, load balancer. Yeah, so here, like I think all these components you are pretty much gonna need. Yeah, so let me start. And so our prompt right now is going to be design Yelp, Foursquare, or a check-in system. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Sounds good. So Yelp, I do use it a lot, but it has a lot of features. So I guess like, what exactly are we trying to target on? I'm assuming we are kind of targeting on like, let's see, we basically want to allow users to. So are we more focused on like the actual checking in feature, or are we more focused on like the actual like this getting based on users location, we want to display like nearby
So
restaurants or like
let's do this. Let's do a regular check-in for like a user doing basic functions on Yelp. So you remember like Yelp maybe like 5-10 years ago? They didn't have all
No.
this. Huh?
Yeah, I only know Yelp like from like 2 or 3 years ago, so I wasn't sure.
Okay.
I don't know what it was like 5 to 10 years ago.
That's fine. Yeah, so basically, let's consider it this way. I want to find restaurants nearby. I want to check in. I want to display ratings of it. I may want to, add a photo, comment, and let owners register a place. Something simple. We're not going to do like delivery or anything like that, or any of the more complicated stuff. Just, kind of like what you expect a review system, check-in system to really look like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I guess you did mention a few key features here. Finding nearby restaurants, checking in, display. Well, I guess ratings would be kind of like similar to AKA showing restaurant profile. Ratings are going to be part of the profile. I guess like post comment photos. I guess like here I would just do a post a rating, and here would just be more like showing restaurant profile, and rating would be part of the thing that, something that the user can do on that restaurant's profile, and we also want to allow restaurants to register on our app. Let's see. Out of all these, I guess like we can. I guess like in terms of like. I'll talk about like allowing restaurants to register on our app, and also finding restaurants nearby. I guess like those are the two things I'll focus first. We can talk about check-in and posting stuff later on. Now I'm trying to guess like estimate like the amount of daily active users we have as well.
Okay.
Let's see, what would be a good number for this? Is it okay to assume that we have like say maybe 10, would 10 million be a little too less?
That's a pretty big insult to Yelp.
Okay,
but I
let's
think
do
that's
100.
pretty. Let's just say like 1 million. Just because Yelp's kind of in a little bit of a bad place.
Okay. Let's say they have like a lot more like registered users, but let's say like active users every day would be 1 million. Let's not insult them. Let's do 10 then.
Yeah, let's
I guess
use
like
1. One is fine. 1 is fine.
okay, 1 is fine. Okay. Let's see, 1 million active users. I guess like each user, how many times do they like really search on the app or like find restaurants nearby? I guess like let's say like one user finds it 5 searches per day.
Yep.
So essentially we have 5 million searches per day. And let's see, how would this kind of translate to per hour a second? Let's see. Yeah, I'm kind of blanking out in terms of like dividing this, but let's just say
I would just use
it's
25 to divide. It's close enough to 24. Does that help you?
okay. Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, 5 to 25.
That is just.
What?
So what's 5 divided by 25?
Sorry, 5 divided by 25. That's like, yeah.
1/5, right?
Oh wait, actually,
So
yeah, 1/5. Yeah, 1 million per hour.
No. Try again. That's if I divide it by 5, right? So if I divide by 25, I must divide that by 5.
Oh, sorry, 1.25 million per hour.
No.
Wait,
200,000. 200,000 times 25 equals 5 million.
25, 5 million.
So that's 200,000 per hour, basically.
Oh, okay. Sorry, yeah, I was just kind of like, I was doing more like 5 over 25, and that kind of got, sorry. Okay, 200K per hour. Sorry. Okay, then this kind of boils down to like pretty much a few thousand per minute. So I guess like, yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot here. But let's just aim for like, you know, we can go with this for now. It wouldn't affect like, I guess, my approach too much.
Yep.
So okay, we have these kind of okay. So I guess like let's talk about like consistency, like the cap theorem. I think like we kind of want to aim for like high availability. If anything, so I guess like over like the cap theorem, I would pick like A and B. Obviously we want it to be like fairly consistent, but I guess like availability is the priority here. Kind of justifying that just because like when users is kind of like searching for restaurants nearby, like I want to be able to like find restaurants nearby like almost immediately. I don't want the service to be down, and that if service is down and I'm not able to find one, I'm just gonna look for a different app or like basically look for a different app. Consistency wise, like what are we actually dealing with? I would say like restaurants like data don't really change that much. I mean, users the restaurants, what do they change? They may change like the hours for a little bit, or like maybe users, other customers may upload photos or comments. But I wouldn't say that's the priority. Priority is more on like allowing users to find restaurants nearby.
Okay.
So I guess like we are okay with like eventual consistency here. Let's see what else. Yeah, actually, I think that's sufficient with what we want to have now.
Is there anything...
Let's just start with
Okay, is there anything else you want to add for specifications, or is that it?
I guess like I would if anything, like we could talk more about like how like in more details in terms of like what finding nearby restaurants look like.
Not exactly what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, well, what about the data itself? Is there something that you want to, any characteristics of the data that you want to be dealing with here?
We want to be storing like location data. Is that what you?
No, like the quality. Let me be more specific.
Okay.
Do you want the data to ever be lost?
Oh, right. Okay, sorry. No, I don't want the data to be lost. So we definitely want durability. Restaurants, data should not be lost.
Okay. Anything else you might want to add about but not just data, but the whole thing?
I would say like scalability.
Okay.
Scalability.
Anything else you might want to think that's important?
latency.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we definitely want low latency, just because like it would be a pretty bad experience if it takes us like minutes just to display a list of restaurants. Scalability wise, this just could be like handling like increase of users, but also just like on say I guess like on holidays, I guess like surge in searches, like postings. Yeah, so these are the things that I want to keep in mind when designing the system. But let's just start with something simple. So we have like a couple of things here. I guess like first thing we want to allow restaurants to register. Oh wait, where did I put? Okay. Registration service.
Okay.
Yeah, register service. Let's. Damn it. Okay. And we'll have a database. Let's see. This is gonna be. We would want to definitely. Let's see. I can add text to it. And then we have like restaurants. I guess like I'll just do arrows that come in here. So I guess like this would be a pretty straightforward in terms of registration. We'll have some kind of register service that would take in information from like users in order for them to register their restaurants. Right now, I'm just kind of thinking about like the actual data we're storing, just because like in order to search up like restaurants nearby, we want to store like the actual location of the restaurant, and that also includes storing like the actual longitude and latitude.
Yeah, because when I search for something, I'm not searching like, oh, what is Harryhausen or like
exactly.
or Peter Luger's Steakhouse. I'm looking at restaurants near me. So yeah.
And that's like so like it's not like a regular like table where I want to search for a certain condition. It's just more like wherever the user's at, I kind of want to get a radius or like at least like some nearby type of restaurants. And I'm just kind of debating between like I know there are like databases that we can use specifically for location scenarios. I'm just trying to remember the name of them or like some examples of them. But let's just say we have a we can have like I guess like two databases, one for like restaurant. This and okay. Restaurant. I guess actually I'll just name this metadata database. This could also store user metadata as well, and not just for restaurants. And then this would be like locations database. Does that make sense? Let me get this over here. So yeah, it would be something like this for restaurants to register themselves. Okay, so honestly, like we have like a lot of single points of failure here, but I'm just gonna continue with the simple approach now.
Sure.
And just
I get you have your metadata of the restaurants, and you're just kind of tabling that discussion. All right, fine.
Yeah, metadata for restaurants. And users as well, because we have like actual users to search up stuff. And if they want to post comments and stuff, they have to be registered as well. So this register service could be for both customers and restaurant owners. If they're registering a restaurant, this would hit both databases. But if they're only registering a like as a user, then it would just only hit the metadata database.
Okay.
Okay, and then I guess like for them to kind of find nearby restaurants. Let's see. Oh, okay. User is gonna have to. We need to have another service.
Okay.
To handle that. Approximation service.
So this is your search service, or
Yeah. Yeah.
okay? Can you call it approximation? I'm curious why you call it approximation.
I guess like I just kind of name it approximations just because like we want to get like restaurants in a certain proximity. I guess like it's clearer if I just name it search service. So yeah, search service, and then it basically would need to query the location database, as well as the metadata database.
Sure.
As well. This is gonna be by directional.
And when you say locations, is this the restaurant or just locations in general?
Locations in general.
Okay.
And then we also want to display the profiles, right? If they do were to click in it, and like when we do return like a list of locations, we even if they don't click onto the profile, we need to show at least like name, I guess like a picture and stuff. Okay. So since we're also storing pictures, I will also have a another database for object storage.
Okay. So you're gonna have some kind of object store here? Okay.
Yeah. Object store. This could just be Amazon S3 for simplicity. Could be anything like that. So I'm having a hard time getting. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Same thing, and I guess the arrows are getting a little.
It's fine. You can just highlight all of them and expand them out later. But yeah, it's
Okay.
fine. It's fine. I understand what you're doing here.
Okay. So yeah, we essentially have like three things. Object store for storing like pictures for restaurants, and I guess like this would be useful, especially later we want to allow users to post comments, allowing them to post pictures. This would come in handy as well.
Okay. Shit. I just realized I cannot fucking undo. Wait, can I undo it? Yeah.
You could Control Z.
Yeah, I'm trying to Control Z it, but it's not accepting it. So I'm assuming you made a change and it's not letting me do it. Okay.
I did not.
Yeah, I fucked up. Hold on, let me zoom out a little bit. I'm just gonna move everything. Alright, go ahead. Sorry, I fucked up there.
Yeah, I'm trying to move it in a way that we can.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'll move the text away if anything. That might make it easier.
Yeah. Okay. I'll move the text. All right. Boom.
Okay.
Out of your way.
Okay. So yeah, back to it. The search service would need to call like the nearby. We have to query like all three databases to basically get like the nearby locations, aka restaurants, and also grabbing like their images as well as some kind of metadata.
Sure.
In order to display it to the user, and then if user clicks into it, we could then make like an extra call to the actual metadata database to get like the ratings, like hours, and more information about the actual restaurant. Okay. Basically like the restaurant profile.
Okay, so your search service is going to just basically hit locations, object store, and metadata. All right. Okay. And your locations is what's your schema actually look like? I'm kind of confused as to how this all works together. I get that they're going to interact, but then my question is how? Because right now it just seems like essentially what you have set up right here is almost like a monolith. So I want to see how you divide up the responsibilities.
Yeah. I'm just struggling because like I guess I should just say like I'm not like very clear on like how locations DB store like their actual data. But I'm just gonna go off like what I think is the case. So we have something like restaurant, and this obviously has like stuff like name, creation time. Let's store the longitude and latitude.
Okay.
Longitude, latitude. And then we also have sorry, user. This would just be simple like name, email, basic stuff like that. And then object store would just kind of be like a key. So we just basically just have like images or videos. So we can have like the actual ID and the actual WAP, aka content. This restaurants would also have a main image. This is basically a UI or URL to the object store. I guess we also want stuff like ratings. And then like I could also just like say like comments. Would just be a pretty simple like user ID. Basically the user that made this comment as well as the actual text in it. And it could also contain photos. So photos.
Sure. So these are your photo IDs, or?
Yeah. So it's going to be similar to the main image, which is basically going to point to the object store to get the list of photos for this specific comment.
Okay, so these are just IDs then.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah, it'd be much more explicit. If you say you're actually storing the photos, that's a completely different thing. So.
Okay. I guess I'll do photo IDs then. That makes it clear. And then restaurant, we can also do like photo IDs, and then we have like one main photo ID. This is the one that we will display at the thumbnail. And then these photo IDs are just kind of like additional photos in case they want to have them on the profile. I'm just gonna add like the actual like ID, like the unique identifier for each of these ones. An ID as well as a ID, and comment would also have a ID to know which profile we posted it on. So yeah, these are the metadata we'll be storing right now. This doesn't handle check-in right now.
Sure.
But
you're just putting out one thing at a time. That's fine.
Yeah, but this will be for like registering, allowing users to register. If they want to add comments as well, restaurants to register.
Sure.
This is the object store.
Okay.
I guess like when it comes to like the schema of the locations database, I don't know enough right now to say much about it. Is it okay if we table that discussion?
That's fine. I guess for now, yeah. But I would argue that your locations database, you already have locations here, right, on the restaurants. So my question is, are you what would be the schema of this to justify its existence? Let me ask that.
So like because I can't explain the locations database like well enough, that's why I stored the longitude and latitude here. But it's not efficient for us to kind of do like location queries against something like this because like I can't just pass in like longitude greater than this, less than that, and latitude greater than this, less than that, in order to give me locations nearby. Right, it doesn't really work like that.
Why can't I do that? Let me ask you that.
I guess you can, but it just wouldn't be that quick.
Okay, fair.
No? Yeah, I mean, unless we also add indexes and stuff like that. But if you're okay, like if we were to table like the locations database discussion and you are okay with using this for now, we can go with that.
That's fine. But basically, what you're talking about essentially is like trying to cache the longitude latitude data. So it's
Yeah.
not so much a database as much as it's like a cache for that kind of query.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So by the way, just in the future, I think you should actually explicitly mention that the use case for it and why it's necessary. So, yeah, go ahead, keep going. I think I'm
Okay.
fine with that.
Okay. Okay. So it seems like we have like showing we talked about allowing restaurants to register and users to register and like searching as well. And obviously I also talked about showing restaurant profile, which is when a user like the search service returns a list of restaurants for the user. When they click onto it, we would then make an additional query to get like all the metadata for that restaurant. Here I'm also gonna have to do comment ID, so we have to write like all the comments as well as like comment photos and stuff like that. And yeah, I guess the one thing we have to do. I know these are still pretty simple, but I do want to cover check-in as well before we start diving into like how are we gonna make this more scalable and efficient. So in terms of check-in, let's see, a user checks in when they're looking at a certain certain restaurant's profile. And I'm not quite sure like what the significance of check-in is. I guess like in some cases check-in allows like restaurants may want users to check in, and they may give them like promotions to encourage that. But like from a data perspective, like, I'm actually not quite sure like what the significance of it. Like, do you know like because I don't use the check-in feature on Yelp, but is there anything like I guess like important about it, or is it just like a button to say check-in and then the restaurants would just have some data like of like users that have checked in at this place?
Yeah, so yeah, that's correct. Basically, I check in as just a status thing, right? Like, hey, I'm currently at this place, right? But what I also would let me ask you, what do you think is important when storing this check-in data?
Right now, I'm kind of thinking like the total amount of like users that have checked in at this restaurant. It just means like, oh, when I go to this
I mean
restaurant,
like each individually check-in, each individual check-in. So let's say I do the action, right? What kind of data from me would you want for that particular action?
What kind of so you as the users do the check-in, and you're asking what kind of data I would want from you?
You are the system. What do you want from me? Like, how would you want to record this?
Oh, okay. Well, obviously, I would need the current users, like your user ID, as well as like some kind of event to kind of like register this action. It could be just a web request. It could be just a post request to an endpoint to say like we checked in. For now, but I guess like from a requirement standpoint, is this check-in kind of like something kind of almost like a button that we just hit for now, and then do we need to like display this like information real time, or like
no like I said, what it's like, let me actually just give you the answer and I'll tell you why. So basically for the check-ins, I would want it's going to be an action, right? So we're going to give it an ID, right? What's important about the check-in is the user, the place they checked into, and the time, I guess, because like you said, you want to give these restaurants data points. So that's what I'm asking. Do you understand why?
Well, one thing is that I don't want that allow a user to check in like every second.
No, but that's a function of your safeguards, like, you can't keep checking in. But the way you store it, that's a completely different topic. Like, let's say in the happy case, you want to do that, right? You're getting ahead of yourself by like trying to protect against bad users, right? Which is not the majority of your users.
So, what I'm thinking here is that I would want to store like each individual check-in. I want to store like the user ID, the timestamp, like you mentioned, as well as the restaurant ID. Those are the three things I want to store. And in terms of like how we would use them would be kind of like when I click into a profile, I can see the amount of users that have checked in at this restaurant before, like, from the beginning of time to now, just to let me know like, oh, if this restaurant like is famous or not. And I was like that wouldn't be in the metadata database. We could have a more simple separate database that's more of like a key value store. let's see. How would that be? Let's see. We'll have I also have a check-in service. I guess like to make this more sophisticated. Let's move this a little further away. This would be a feed service. Feed would just essentially show like the list of restaurants from the search service, but we will also, this feed will also handle.
Okay. I understand what you're doing now. I feel like you're kind of lost right now, kind of just like grasping.
Well, I was gonna talk about like the check-in here.
Let me. What I'm gonna do is actually stop because I think
Okay.
you know. Let's finish at the check-in and then we'll talk.
Okay. So the user has a feed like profile service. This is where we return like we get the list of restaurants to show, as well as like handling when they click into a specific profile. And when they do check in, we will then kind of store it in the check-in database. And it will have like, this is something, what it will look like. We just have a check-in ID, and it'll have like the restaurant ID, user ID, timestamp. And from here, we can kind of get like, the number of rows here that have the same restaurant ID, or like, yeah, and that will allow us to kind of show like the amount of users that have checked in this restaurant in the past.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
All right. So let me stop there. So basically,
Okay.
you're kind of on the right track. A little messy, but basically, what I want to go over is like I would say like 2 or 3 points of discussion here. So
Okay.
let me copy paste my notes here, and we can talk about it. I think it's interesting. So let's first things first. Okay, you define the function. I would say you did a pretty okay job defining the functional requirements. I don't have any issue with it. I think that you did miss out quite a few things for the non-functionals. Like for instance, the data longevity, the durability of your system, latency. Those are things that are, I would say, like pretty interesting to miss out on. I'm curious. This is probably like a lack of practice. So again, I want you to take notes on all the notes I'm talking to you about right now. That you really need to nail down not just like I ran through this checklist, right? You also need to nail down what is core to the system. What do users expect? What does your system expect? What is the hardcore things that we absolutely cannot live without? I want you to start thinking in terms of like, I'm solving a problem. I'm building something that people need. Okay? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So then the second I noticed you struggle with the initial calculations. My trick is use powers of 10, divide by 25 instead of 24, and then divide by 50 instead of 60. Do you understand why I do this?
Because it's easy to do the division.
Exactly. Yeah, no one cares if you're off by like 10, 12%. It's like that's not going to make or break your system when you're doing these initial calculations, right? Like, who cares if I'm like 100 megabytes versus 110 megabytes, right?
Okay.
Like, that's not going to make or break your issue here. So I would recommend you do that in the future when you're doing specified data constraints. And then next one. So I would say you had a good call out for the search. I think that's completely appropriate because you did take into account how users would be searching for these things. But I think you also made a mistake starting with the register service. The reason why is because not too many people are going to use the register service. You've already acknowledged this in the 100 to like your read-write ratio somewhere, right? Or did you not specify?
Oh, yeah. I guess I didn't work on the.
That's fine. Another way to think about it is what's the inefficiency? What's the thing that's most likely to break? And if you think about like the way your users use the system, it's going to be, hey, well, users are like going to be reading a lot more than they're writing. So I would have handled that first personally. And plus, that's like more the majority of your headache came in actually. So it's so it says, hey, you need locations, objects, metadata, right? And your object store. I would recommend you remember your CDNs.
Yeah, I actually do plan to talk about them, like CDN, load balancers, and all that. But I was trying to go with the approach of like starting simple and then eventually diving into that. That's why I never talk about CDN or caches or load balancers.
Fine, that's fair. I have no problem with that actually. But what I think threw you off is the location thing.
Yeah, that was the one thing that like even though as I was doing this problem, it was like constantly at the back of my mind, kind of bugging me.
I would say don't worry about it. Get the core system down, then worry about the optimizations. Because in theory, we can live if the database gets hammered, and we can evolve it to meet our standards later, right? But what's important is that you get the schema down, and I think that eventually you're gonna find if you keep going down this path, you're gonna flood this restaurant schema with just way too much shit. And that's gonna end up being a problem. And then also the check-in as well. Like you're thinking about, oh, I don't want bad users in my system. Well, that's the function of these services. The service is gonna protect you against that, right? But once you assume it's a good service, or a good request, how do you represent it? So think about like, if I do the action of checking in, I want all these characteristics to represent that check-in. You're taking on too much at once. You said that you want to start with a simple idea, right, and then build up, but you kind of contradicted yourself right here.
I guess I was just a little lost when you asked me that question of like what kind of data I want from the user. Like because I know I need to store these information, but I was pretty lost in terms of like I wasn't sure like what exactly you were asking.
I'm asking how to represent a check-in.
I guess like that I was a little lost there like when I got that question.
I'm not asking anything complicated. I'm literally just asking how do you want to represent the check-in, and then you just responded with like some weird shit. These systems are built with very simple steps, step by step, and I would encourage you to really think simply. And if the person says you missed some detail, then maybe that's what the point to clarify. But really, just giving the simple answer is almost always the right answer, like 9% of the time. And then it's like, oh, then you realize there's a problem with it, then you grow it. But simple building blocks is almost always like the right answer. That being said, the way I would represent this is I think you did fine with like comment user. Eventually you'll have like the photo IDs. And the photo IDs will be like have some metadata like with the user that upload it. You might also have like some categories as well for the restaurants, and the categories are going to be like ID naming and so on and so forth. You might start thinking about internationalization. But to really answer the thing about that you mentioned about hammering the database for queries, eventually you could just use a quad tree or grid. So essentially what you end up doing is that for all the restaurants, you pre-assign them to like some grid. And then you just check all the grids within n number of grids. And each grid, is going to be like, let's say, a length of 6, right? So then, all the restaurants within 6 miles of you are within that grid.
Yeah, that was the thing that I was trying to think of, because I remember reading on like, I guess like Uber or like some posts on like the locations and like using the quad tree, and then there was some kind of pattern. I think I forgot the name of it, but it was like the name of some kind of pattern. As well, but yeah.
Here, actually, you know what? Let me show you my answer to this one. Now, I'm sharing a screen with you, right?
Okay.
So you can see like create quad trees and grids. So you can see like the V1 is like just SQL query and keep it simple, right? But essentially what you're talking about is a graph, a cache, right? So this could be interpreted as either SQL database and then you reorganize it using a cache. But I would have liked you to represent this as a cache and use quad tree. And then quad tree is like a database, and you might have that detail completely wrong. The point here is to say acknowledge what the inefficiency is, and then you can do these queries on that database and arrange it as such. And so really, I have no problem again leaving it with the restaurants, leaving the place ID and all that stuff, and the longitude in the SQL database. But this is more an optimization of the search. Don't concern yourself with that. Get the damn system working, and then everything else, right? So
I guess like I just had the wrong idea in mind, because I had the idea of like the search being a very core thing. And I guess like that was a mistake I made, because if I was okay with just like the very simple idea of just like querying longitude and latitude, I feel like I would have been able to focus better and get a lot more done.
You're not wrong. This is pretty core. The problem is that, how do I describe this? You bit off more than you could chew at once. The question you want to first ask yourself is, if this implementation is correct, then ask what's wrong about it or what's inefficient about it, and you correctly identified, hey, we're going to be hammering this query. In theory, we could do this like query where all we have latitude between ranges. That's effectively what we do. It's just that quad tree just structures this differently, because that's when you start getting underneath the hood, right? Quad tree just basically means, hey, for the way we organize this database, and I think this is the way it is, that for every single node, we have four child nodes, and those 4 child nodes represent north, south, east, west. So in other words, you're just looking to traverse at a length of like 6 in each direction, or and 4 in the diagonals or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's basically the way it's organized, and that's like a structural thing underneath the hood. But you don't need to worry about that too much right now. I would say as long as you get the query right, then you can always swap the database, because you can use quad trees or grids, but it doesn't really impact the way this is overall organized, right? Like the overall structure of this is not impacted by whether or not this SQL quad tree or grid.
True.
That's what I'm trying to get at here. I think you're over, like, if you really wanted to make this a structural thing, you could do a cache.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, but I understand the point. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just feel like I also did have, like, you kind of gave me the same comment as well. I feel like the last time about like me chewing more than that I can get done.
Yep. Yeah. So it's like, again, I think very simple unit, one unit, one idea. So.
Okay.
And you kind of see, like, from here, like, okay, now that I've solved this issue, let's do all these other things, like, getting the comments, getting the ratings, getting the check-in. Like, all these are just going to be hitting the database, right?
Yeah.
And so all that's left is really, okay, well, I have all these different reads going into this one database, or like all these different databases. So now, since I'm read heavy and I know 101, I could just do like a majority consensus on the replicas.
Yeah.
And then that would basically be a way of handling all this, because now I know that I have so many reads, right? And then I have like all these caches in front, this quad tree in front, quad tree server follower, blah blah blah. So yeah, leader follower arrangement. And basically the whole thing just kind of falls into place after you solve that issue. One other thing I would recommend is like you might also consider caching. I think I put these as like my LRU cache, by the way. And I'm just kind of represent, hey, every single service, every single thing that we have, I'm just caching it.
Okay.
And you kind of see here, after that, I kind of define my APIs, like, okay, here's what I need, token, user ID, place ID, blah, blah, blah. But that's really all a consequence of, like, I identify my schema, I know what I'm representing, and so now I have my schema, I can now query for these things using these relationships. And so, basically, what I'm trying to say here is it's like once I solve this core issue, the rest just follow.
Yeah, I guess that's what, like, frustrates me, because, like, I feel like even looking at like what you have here, I feel like it's definitely like things that I could have done as well, but it's just like certain things that I do that get me caught up, and the time runs up, and I was not able to like do everything I planned to do.
Yeah, so my suggestion is that you think much simpler, and you think in terms of steps. Like, you kind of have the right idea of like, oh yeah, I need to solve the system, then ask whether myself is inefficient. But I would recommend that you say each unit of work is independent and a very simple idea that I can come up with a very simple, easy answer to. That's the way I think about these things. And, eventually, like, once you start building up the system, some of these things start to conflict. Deal with it then. Deal with it when the problem actually shows up.
Sorry, can you repeat that one part where you say each unit of
work, it should technically be independent until they're not. And they should be independent and easy to understand. Once they start conflicting with each other, for instance, like if I only had one user using Yelp, I don't give a shit whether it's a quad tree or whatever. I use a damn SQL for all I care, right? But the requirement of having a bunch of people use the system and the type of database I use doesn't actually conflict with each other until I'm starting to hit that database over and over and over and over again, And then once I increase the volume, that's like, oh shit, well now these problems are starting to overlap each other. So hopefully that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's about tuning up the problem and building up to that point where you can actually handle it. So it's like, it doesn't make sense for me to scale Yelp to 1 billion users right off the bat. Just start with something very damn simple.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the rest of this, I can send this to you if you want, but I would highly recommend you go back over, look at this solution. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I mean, there's plenty of other people who do this. But I'm saying that...
Yeah, can you send this to me like when you get the chance?
Yeah, but I would recommend you at least try to reverse engineer where you went wrong, and what you could have done to get this answer. And maybe you get over this hump, and then it's like, oh, well, maybe I can do something else, right? But this is where grokking the system design is going to help you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely do some reverse engineering on this one.
Okay, but that's basically it from me. I think that your system design does need work. Your coding interview... Your data structure algorithm is completely fine, but I'm starting to get a little worried about this part.
Okay.
So, I would suggest go through grokking for the next few days. really try to focus on the reverse
Hello?
engineer. Hello? Hello? Oh, wait, hold up. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, I guess I had some issues. I couldn't hear you for the last like minute.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Let me type it up in your doc then.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. So then, study plan. For the next few days, I want you to do grokking, the system design, and I want you to do the diary thing. Like, you know how we did that before?
Yeah.
With the data structure and algorithms? I want you to do it as well.
So would I just paste like the like the image I've sent you
Mhm.
that one time? Do I just paste like that image into it?
Yeah.
And then
Paste
write
the-
my reverse engineering notes under
Yep.
it?
Yep.
Okay.
Paste the image from Scaladraw. Scaladraw, show the diff. The exact same thing you did last time, actually. That was good. And I want you to do
okay.
exactly the same thing here, with all the other system design stuff.
Okay.
Let's see what else. Yeah, and I think that I know tomorrow's gonna be 30th, 31st. First, I don't imagine you're gonna do anything. So really, this is gonna last you till like the next week. But my hope is that you go right back to this like as soon as possible. We don't have too much time to waste because your interview with Uber's on the 10th.
Yeah.
So that leaves the 2nd on Sunday. So you basically have 1 week.
Yeah, pretty much.
So if anything, we do another coaching session on Thursday next week. So you have 1 week to work. But I really want you to hit this hard. Like, remember what we talked about. We want to make sure play this as if we have a 30% chance of getting you an L4 at Google.
Okay.
Okay. And then after that, I think there is also like grokking the scalable system. Let me see.
Oh, they do?
I think they have another version of grokking the system design. It's like some. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a sec.
Okay.
Scalability and system design for developers. Yeah. I haven't actually looked at
Wait,
this.
Isn't
No,
it
this isn't right?
grokking the distributed and scalable systems?
I think so. Wait, hold up. Yeah. This one. I recommend just reading it. This is like, this is actually when you start getting into some really deep shit. But I think that briefly reading through it might be, actually, yeah, well, weak. I'm afraid that if I throw too much at you, it's gonna be kind of bad.
I guess what if I read on certain topics of it, not all of it? Because I guess some of these could be a little extra, but maybe some of these would be useful. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, let me see. Time, you don't need NTP. You know.
Because I feel like for example, like time, that's something that the DIA already talks about.
I would say. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna say 10, 11, let's see, 12, 13, maybe 17 as well. I would say like those are the only 5 off the top of my head. But really, I want you to focus more on trying to reverse engineer the grokking stuff. This is like your bonus. If you really need something to chew on.
Okay.
But I would say don't worry too much about it.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions?
No, don't have anything else.
All right, sounds good, man. Yeah. Good luck with everything. Happy New Year, and yeah, let's hope for like a strong finish here.
Yeah, talk to you later. Happy New Year as well.
All right, Happy New Year. All right, bye.
Bye.
All right. So let's see if there's any questions in the chat. Don't worry, we still got other things. So can you post that image of the Yeah, I can actually. Okay, I'll post that in the chat. Hold up. This is just my solution. It's not actually like quote unquote the best solution. It's just the one I came up with. Me being like this shitty mobile programmer, you know. I'm not gonna have a full context or view into how all this actually works on the back end. But this is like the best thing I came up with, and it seems like it works for other people. So I'm gonna post this in my Discord. Give me a sec, guys. General resources. Where's resources? Okay, so I uploaded that to my Discord, so feel free to check it out in the link in the description link. Miha says, not familiar with quad trees, but something like partitioning database would, based on function of latitude, work well, or is it index of that value? So the problem with that, off the top of my head, is that if you decide to do that, what you're gonna end up with is like a bunch of like infinitesimal values. So for instance, let me boot up a Google Doc here. So your longitude latitude is gonna be like something like 42.8976. Like something like this, right? And then you have a latitude of like 105 point da 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 da, right? So not everything is going to share the exact same latitude and longitude, right? You might have a small variance here of like, you know, like of 70, right? And so if you partition it by that, you are kind of in a weird situation. But you can argue, oh, well, why don't you just partition things between like 41 and 42, you know, and then 42 and 42 and 43 for latitude, and then do like the combinations of longitude like 105, 106, 103, 104, and all that stuff. I think that's basically what you're asking, right? And it's actually kind of this actually gets into some weird shit because you basically are talking about every single possible combination and permutation of latitude and longitudes. This is not a bad solution if you didn't know quad trees and graphs exist, but then you kind of realize, wait, I have so many freaking shards. I have so many, like, essentially these could all be their own databases, and then you would just like redirect to each database based on latitude and longitude. That's perfectly reasonable. But again, like, well, the problem is that, well, what happens if, say, you moved restaurants, right? Let's say my restaurant down the street, like my Chipotle, decides to move 10 blocks over. Well, now that has to be rebalanced to another database. I mean, technically you could change it in tables, but then like restaurants like close down all the time, move all the time. It kind of leads itself to some really weird migration issues. And so once you identify that issue, then you end up realizing, well, why not just do it in memory with a graph database, with not a graph, but a quad tree, you know? It just kind of all roads lead to Rome. And I'm saying that this is not a bad solution if you didn't know things exist, if you didn't know like this type of structure existed, right? And I would have actually accepted that as long as you understand what the drawbacks are, and you can acknowledge at this point we need to modify the type of database that we're using. But you don't know what it would be. I'm actually okay with that. And at that point, you're basically talking about like senior staff level shit, okay? And I'm not testing him for a senior staff. I'm just trying to say, make sure that he's got the basics down. So let's see. Happy New Year. Kay just picked up Relentless. Yeah, I highly recommend you read that. And a lot of the Tim Grover interviews on YouTube are actually really, really good. So like, I'm waiting for my next client in 10 minutes, but let's actually go ahead, and I kind of want to
I'll never forget this. The first day when we left that meeting, he said,
I recommend this one, actually.
Keep up. You better keep up.
Yeah, you can kind of, like, Relentless is just more or less
I worked with Michael Jordan for
what
15 years.
he talks about in here, just in book form. But you can kind of get the general gist
Everyone
of it
knows
just
me as
in
his trainer,
here
but my
as
official
well.
title was
He
a
just kind of
sports
goes into the whole
management
details of it, and
specialist.
like
You walk into
really
the gym and I'll
dives
work
into the
with you
details
for
of like
2
what
weeks.
a cleaner is.
You're not my client. If I passed you a ball for one day,
And then he also
I
has like a
shot
Kobe Bryant
of
video
you,
as well. Keep
you're
in
not
mind,
my
this guy is
client. I
like worked with
define
so
a
many
client
fucking good people.
of mine who's worked with me for numerous years.
So.
Scottie Pippen, numerous years. Charles Barkley, numerous years. Akeem Olajuwon, numerous years. Michael Jordan, numerous years. Kobe Bryant, numerous years. Dwayne Wade, numerous years. I mean, those are the
Like,
top,
even if you don't play basketball, you
top-
recognize some of
top
these names, right?
individuals. I have
So if
others
this
that have
guy
had
is
successful careers.
like commonly showing
I
up
played college
with some of the best
basketball at
players in the
University of
world
Illinois
and in
in
history,
Chicago.
there's
Always
probably
been a
something to it.
basketball buff. So I actually did my thesis on strength and conditioning for basketball players. When I graduated college, I had a master's degree in exercise science, and I always knew I wanted to train professional athletes. The only way you could really train professional athletes was working for a professional organization.
I guess I'll keep the video playing for right now, but But yeah, actually no, I don't want to get copyright striked. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions as well. I'm gonna bring my next client on in 10 minutes. We're gonna be talking to some potential new people, see if we can, see if we have anyone new out there who is gonna be a good fit for us. And just kind of like to recap my whole thinking on how I select my clients. I think that I'm really looking for people who really, really want it, you know? So people who are willing to put in the hard work and effort that I asked them to. If you remember, like a few months ago, I did drop a client because he wanted quote unquote balance. Except I usually don't ask for anything more than 20 hours, 20, 30 hours a week, right? 20 hours even. Some people spend work 68 hours, like fucking building a business. You know, I'm asking just for 6 weeks of your time to get to a good level where you can nail every single interview and never have to study again. Please look at that. So yeah, like I'm really trying to select clients who really, really want it. So there's a few factors I look for, but mostly it's just like whether or not they're motivated by the right things. And I've turned out many, many clients before. I don't actually need like the money or like what people are offering me, right? I just do this because I genuinely believe in it. And in case you guys are wondering, my compensation structure is directly tied to what the client's offer is. So the better the client does, the better things that come to my way. Otherwise, I don't take money at all. So it's really all about finding the right people who will succeed and who will do. And I know they'll succeed if they listen to me and put in the work. Most of the time, the issue is that they don't put in the work, or they do something wrong. So I tagged you in that post, Siddhant, and you know you should be able to see it. Are there any updates on mentoring interns? Okay, so let me actually tell you my thought process on this one. So the reason why I can do the interviewing and coaching and mentoring individual people for the for the coding interview is because they're high offer. I just take a piece of it, and the incentives are very clear. They succeed, I succeed, and vice versa. So it's in my interest to spend as much time as possible to get them to their maximum potential, because the payoff is very good for me and it's worth my time. The problem with interns is that there is a lot of gap between what I expect and what they are used to, partially because of the age of the interns, but also it's like if I start talking about things like scalable systems, there's no way they understand it. And I don't mean like you might have studied it, right? You might have like read some books on it, but you haven't actually seen it or played with it or like gotten your arms around it. You know, it's the difference between studying basketball and actually playing basketball. What the difference is all in the practicality and execution. And then so when I start talking about things like thinking simply, and individual units of work, you're gonna have a completely different idea of what the heck I'm talking about, or you might have the wrong idea until you actually get bit in the ass over and over again in the real world. The things I mentioned and a lot of the subtleties don't actually hit you. In fact, you can go back to any of my old recordings, any of my old social sessions, and you can see there I tend to repeat myself, right? All the things I've said in the past, and I kind of say again. The only problem is that once you actually do some of the stuff I say, these words actually take a whole new meaning. And so that's already within the coding interview itself, the coding interview prep. Now imagine what the context, how the context changes when you actually progress through your career. So it's like the style is not really a good match. The second one is that the payoff is not really good either. And I feel a little bit guilty taking money from interns. The reason why is because like you guys need the money, right? You get paid some kind of money for your summer job. You get basically paid like $3,000, $5,000 a month for working 2-3 months. Like, I get that money goes back to you. Like, you need it for your housing expenses. You need it for your living expenses and your student loans. And I'd feel really bad if I gave you guys the same contract. But not more importantly, the payoff is not really worth my time. Because my contracts start at, 7-10%. In fact, that's undercutting it. I might just, raise the prices later on in the future. But let's say I take 10%, right? I'm taking $500 per month from you. And $500 a month to a student is fucking enormous. And so I can't offer that contract on a good conscience. Would it be worth my time to do it? Kinda, yeah. I mean, I could do 6 months. I could do not really 6 months. 6 weeks of my time is probably okay for that. I honestly don't care. 6 months is I'll even give you 2 months. But it's it just kind of cuts both ways, you know. 6 weeks. It's I'll be taking $1,500, $2,000 of your money for 6 weeks. I don't know. That doesn't sit right. And I mean, if you're willing to do it, sure. But it's I need there would need to be a little bit better payoff. You know, I can spend that 6 weeks on a intern, or I can spend 12 weeks on someone who's going to get a $250,000 salary. So it's kind of like not there. The incentives don't align for me. They're not good for the interns themselves. And like that's why I make my coaching sessions free. Like in the past, I used to offer free coaching, but now I have like so many people who want to work with me, and something like this takes up a lot of my time. That I can't afford the time to do free coaching sessions. I'll do it like maybe once a year. Don't get me wrong. And for people who are really loyal, I'll definitely give you the free sessions. But it's like, and you know, in the freaking Discord, if you send me like a little chat, like, hey, how's my practice diary? What is something I can improve on? You give me something I can work with for 5 minutes. I'll give you the free feedback. You know, that's I'm not above that. It's just that the hands-on is kind of, it's not worth the time value. One thing I did think about was actually trying to give like random freebies in the stream, but then I realized my time constraint is just so short that it just kind of ends up being the exact same thing. That it really just adds up to be about the same thing. The other thing I thought about was doing like some group coaching as well, where like I get like 3 or 4 interns, and then basically I do get one of them a problem, and then 3 or 4 of them will be doing the problem alongside them, and I'll be giving the proposal. I'll be doing like I'm going to the next person. So it won't be as detailed as what we're doing here. It will be more like I just go through 4 people and give each person 30 minutes. And so they're all within the same session, and then everyone can ask questions. I thought about doing that, but then I realized a big amount of the value that I provide is not just like giving the feedback. It's by making you guys do the exercises after that and practicing the concepts that I talk about. And so I can, and if I did that, then there is no real difference between you doing the same exercises like while I have the stream going versus you being on stream. Like when I do my feedback to R right in the beginning, I made him do like some other problems as well. Right after we did the first problem, but there's no difference between you guys doing that on stream with 4 other people versus you guys like doing that on your own currently in the chat. There's no value difference here for you guys, so I can't justify taking that kind of money from people or giving that kind of involvement when literally there's no difference. If people want that, let me know. Like I'll organize a group of 4 interns and we can try that out in a group setting where I do like 4 problems, or like group of 3, right? Where we do 3 problems together, and I just give one person a problem, then I give the next person the problem, and I give the next person the problem, and then I make you guys really drill into the mistakes that they're doing. We can try that, but it's just not there, not obvious to me. Like if you have any other suggestions, I'm completely open to it. I like doing the hands-on stuff. I think it provides immensely much more value to the individual than like doing a course. But at this point, like I can't figure it out. I'm definitely trying to read into how this whole business works, but ultimately it just kind of boils down to at that point, I'm just kind of like boiling down my brand to mass market, and I really am trying to avoid that. All right, it's 9:59. Let me be right back. I'm going to grab some drinks. But yeah, if you guys have like any oh yeah. But yeah, so if you can get like 3 interns who want to try this, I will be happy to try and drum a contract. Yeah, if you get 3 interns who want to do this and try this group streaming out, I'll be happy to try it out with you guys. So, ping me in the server if you got that. Crosu says, "Did grokking for 3 days and felt like you were heading nowhere?" Shoot me drop a message in Discord, um, and outline what you've done. Did you do the practice diary? Did you go back and review your mistakes? Did you try to reverse engineer the solution? Did you try to fix your thinking? Like, what did you do, and what was the mistake? How did you do better? Drop all the effort you made to improving, and I'll look at it in Discord.
Recording in progress.
Hey, hello. Hold on. Hello.
Recording stopped.
I can't. Your mic is muted.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Hi. How
Hey.
are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah. Tell me how you found me, and tell me like how you think I can help you. Like this is just kind of an introductory call, just to preface everything. This is just an introductory call to see if we're like a good fit for long-term coaching. This is not an obligation to sign up. It's more just like a for me to understand your situation and for you to understand what I'm about.
Yeah, so basically, like I've been preparing for all these interviews and coding rounds and all. So I found your video, I think, on YouTube,
Uh-huh.
and there from there I also joined your Discord. And although I'm not that much of active on Discord, but I like then and from there I went to your site, and there I saw this thing about the long-term coaching,
Mm-hmm.
and that really interested me. And the main thing, and let me tell something about me, my
Uh-huh.
background. So I'm currently undergrad, fourth final year undergrad, and I'm also right now intern in Grab. It's a company in Southeast Asia, if you know.
Okay.
And yeah, so and like after this I got an PPO in Grab. So after my intern's over, I'll get uh, the job there.
Hmm.
But yeah, so basically I was trying to prepare for Amazon and Google. So the main problem with me was the consistency and the path. Like I can do hard work, I do it, like say if I'm motivated, I'll go for on a run for a week or so.
Okay.
But after that, like it's hard to be on the track. So that's like uh, a real problem with me.
Okay. I see.
And
Hmm.
yeah, and that's why the long term coaching intrigued me, because uh, it's more like someone will keep you on the track, you know. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay, a few things. So first, you say you're undergrad, so which means you're about to graduate.
Yeah,
Hmm.
this year.
Okay, because I think on your application you said you had like 2 years of experience. You're going for the L3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where's the 2 years of experience come in?
Yeah. Okay. Uh, Sorry, I think 2 years experience was that required for L3. I did not
No,
know,
no,
I
no.
guess.
It's like I'm just like, confirming the details of it, but it's fine. Anyway, but yeah. So I understand your situation now. You did an internship, trying to go over Amazon. Your lack of consistency is a problem. Now, did you try doing everything that I put in my guide?
Yeah, so like I the yeah the document where
Mhm.
you the name that you said thing.
Yeah. Welcome
Okay,
to the
so
coding interview. You suck. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, yeah, I did try, but as I said, the problem is inconsistency with me. So I do lead code for a week or a week and a half, and I think I'm on the path, and I'm doing things and problems, but like doing it for the long term is my problem. And Also I have my like I do make my notes, and so I have my diary of what problems have I done, and what other better ways can I, like when I see the problem again, then uh, if I found something new, then I do write those things. But yeah, the problems with the consistency,
Okay.
the only thing I can think of myself.
Okay. So I think I'm starting to get a better understanding of the situation. So, how recent did you find the guide, and how long have you been trying to implement it for?
uh, so I think uh, uh, I implement the I filled the Google form for from your site. So probably during that time only I found the guide, and from I think, I don't know, it may be 2 months or so.
Okay. And
And
have you noticed any improvement in your problem solving? Because I don't recommend LeetCode. I recommend grokking and EPI.
uh, yeah. So I do have grokking, but I don't like I did try to go through grokking, but I don't know. I didn't get the very much sense out of it. So maybe I was it's a problem with me. But uh,
What do you mean
like
you didn't get very much sense out of it?
yeah. So like I earlier I used to, the basic thing from where I learned is from the videos. So from the people, and one book that I earlier used to read was this, I'm forgetting the name. This coding. There was a one book, and also the interview, cracking the interview. But I think that was very, really very basic. So
Okay.
like I used to read that a year ago
So, but
or
I'm
so.
asking why you thought grokking wasn't good.
Yeah. So I would say that I do my more of the learning from the videos, and so, and then I try to get through the grokking.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe because I don't read a lot of books, that's why.
Grokking isn't a book. Grokking is just the is teaching you the patterns, right? It's asking you to do problems. It's the website.
I have I have a PDF of it, I think.
Is there a
Yeah, the
PDF? I don't think so. Grokking, I link it. It's a course.
I have a, okay, maybe I did not went through your particular
You did not
I
go. I
think
don't think you went through my guide then, because I
yeah.
basically I link it. I link the website. It's educator.io. It's not PDF. Elements of Programming Interview is a PDF.
Yeah, that's a PDF. And but there is PDFs for grokking too. I
No, I
think.
don't know. I don't know it. But it's the one that because how could you submit code? Because it allows you to submit the code.
Oh,
So I think you have
I
the
think
wrong.
we
I
are
think
on
you got
that
the wrong
website.
one. I don't know what you're looking at, but this is the one. I've sent it to you in chat.
Uh, okay, I think we are on a different track. Sorry.
Yep. Okay. So basically my answer right now is no. I think I just see too many discrepancies.
Hmm.
One and it's like one is that I don't think that I think you read the wrong one. I think you haven't actually tried it because I'm asking you like just like have you tried this? Well, it's all outlined in my guide, so I'm kind of confused as to why. Yeah, I'm confused why you're asking for a different one. The second one is that you mentioned that your problem is consistency and just saying disciplined. That's
Yeah.
not a that's like me being there is not going to actually change that, believe it or not. It's just another person, you know. You could replace at that point you could replace me with anyone else. Like look at the server. I'm sure there's plenty of other people who are studying for coding interviews. You could just ask for a study buddy there. And I think
Uh,
that's going to be good enough to replace me because if you follow like what I wrote in my guide and you like genuinely try to do what I asked and just like there's plenty of other people who have seen my coaching sessions who have um who have who I've coached before. Just ask them for help or like ask them for some feedback or mock interviews or like to keep you on track. I'm sure they'll be happy to do it because they're probably studying for it as well. So my answer right now is no. So
yeah, no problem, ma'am. I was just trying, like, yeah, I'll try better. But yeah, thanks for at least having call. I was expecting if you even have a call with me or not.
yeah, no problem. And don't get me wrong. Like, what if you can stay disciplined? and you put genuine effort into it, I think anyone can do it. It's not very difficult. It's just focusing on one thing at a time for like a very, very short amount of time. And then once you do that, you'll never have to study again. But yeah, good luck, man, and hopefully things work out.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, so let's see. Facebook doesn't count years internship years of experience. Yeah. I think he just wrote the wrong thing in his application. So that's why I kind of looked at it. It was like he wrote himself that he's an L3 with like 1 year of experience. So I think he just like completely lied. I don't think he like told the truth on his application. So that was kind of like a first red flag. The second one, he's talking about like he has struggled with consistency, but that's like that'd be a hard no usually. But I was like, I kind of wanted to feel out the rest of the conversation. And then he says that he tried the things that was in my guide, but then he said, was it Grok in the coding interview was a PDF? No, it's a website. So to me, like, I'm thinking that maybe he didn't actually do he didn't try the guide. So it's just like too many red flags for me to really take him on as a client. Even if I want to overlook some of the stuff, it's just like there's just too many things saying no. So my answer is no. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Yeah, it's like, think of it this way. It's like investing. I would mostly try to only invest in things or people that I have 100% very good idea of who they are. And one of the things is like really just making an earnest effort into all the things I've asked before. Granted, like some people do slip through the cracks, right? That's why I dropped my one client. Like, I think he could have done it if he had. It's like one of the things that happened like in the last month, like when I had dropped my client, he's like, I got the sense that he was trying to sell me, but I tried to give a shot for him, and he did talk the right talk. Don't get me wrong, but it's like it didn't work out because I think he just like didn't expect me to demand so much, and so some people do go through the cracks, but for the most part, I'm hoping that the effort and the clients that I bring on, they show you that I can screen pretty well for this, and I think this whole process actually works pretty well too. I'm not trying to say no just to make like up my value. I'm just saying no, and I'm telling you exactly why. It's like I want people to make a earnest attempt and not waste my time, and I don't want to waste their time either. So, let me contact my other clients, see if we can get things done early today. If not, I can spend another 15 minutes just like kind of chatting away.
Recording in progress. Recording stopped.
Let's see. Okay. I guess I sent him a message. Let's see like what he says. Show. Okay, so he says he sounds good. He's on his way. So let's see like what he says. let's see. Oh, yeah, there we go. Waiting room. Great, great. Hello? Hello? I think your mic says you're not muted, but you're not. I don't see any sound coming through.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Yeah, it's going good. Yeah, sorry, my mic is a bit.
Your mic cut out. Wait, hold up. I see the sound moving, but I don't hear your voice. So, hello?
Hello.
Yeah, there we go.
Better now?
Yeah, better.
Okay, that sounds cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you look familiar. Did I? I'm pretty sure I coached you before.
Yeah, last year around this time actually, I applied for one of your free coaching interview sessions. And yeah, like back then I was like an intern for Amazon, and then yeah, we talked about it. I was a little like really fangirling over you a lot back then. So, yeah.
No problem. Still fangirling over me still?
Yeah, I do watch your videos and check the Discord a lot, yeah.
All right, for sure. All right, glad to have a fan here. So, yeah, did you feel you got a lot of value out of the coaching session we did? What's changed since then?
Yeah, so since then I've just had 2 internships so far. All in Canada though, but I kind of want to move to like in the US, like maybe California or something. For a tech job. So
Okay.
yeah, that's basically it, I guess. Like yeah, I've been studying a lot for the I don't know. I've been doing grokking, EPI, still like since then. I did recently read DDIA since we talked last time. I started getting into I got into a research project with the professor.
Good.
That's basically what I've been doing since then, I guess. But I'm still having like similar problems with coding still. Like I can't adapt to new problems as well. But like if I have seen a problem, like I can usually like if I'm familiar with a problem and like what it's asking and all that, like I can usually get it, but usually like 50, maybe like 25-50% of the time, like if I don't understand it at all, like I probably won't get it within like 30 minutes or so. Okay,
got it. I don't remember what we talked about in our coaching session. Can you remind me?
Last time it was just like it was more you taught me how to be like productive and effective in the workplace sort of thing.
Oh, so it was more like a chat. It wasn't like actually me coaching you for coding interviews.
No, because I told you right, like 15 minutes right before, like I mean not 15 minutes right before, but like just during the interview. I mean right during at the beginning of our call, like I just got a acceptance like 15 minutes before our call, so and then we decided to just have like a mentor mentee.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't remember every single person I've
No. I'm just I don't expect you to. I was just like talking about it, yeah.
Got it. Okay, so you got a research position, and it sounds like you are just about to graduate, or did you graduate already?
No, I'm graduating soon. Hopefully by the summer. This summer.
Okay, I see. So, you said you got a research position. Are you going to be applying to any? Yeah, and you said you're looking to move from Canada to US for a tech job.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, got it. And so let me ask you, like, have you tried like all the stuff that I've written in my guide to try to improve a coaching session? I mean, coding.
Yeah. I have tried the grokking, reading DDI, like your prep guide that you have on your site, right? And,
yeah,
like,
the Google Doc. Yep.
Yeah. The welcome to the code interview you suck thing. Yeah, I love it. But yeah, I did that. Yeah, I read through it like twice or 3 times. Okay. At like occasional intervals, just to refresh my mind.
Sure.
So yeah, I have done the grokking, the coding questions. I haven't done grokking the system design. I only done the grokking the coding interview.
I'm gonna tell you, you don't need to do system design as a incoming freshman at all, ever.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about it. You don't like even the guy I had on the stream before. He is 1 year experience, and he's still like hitting L3. So, and I don't think he's been asked system design questions in the L3 rounds anyway. So I would not expect him to ask that to a new grad either.
Okay, yeah. It's like I really find system design interesting, but I just like don't know anything about it, so it's kind of like daunting to me.
That's fine. If you do it as entertainment, then that's fine. I totally understand. But I would definitely recommend just focusing on one thing and one thing only, which is like the coding interview stuff. Now, let me ask, what do you find? You mentioned that 25 to 50% of the time you can't do new problems. Have you tried like keeping a practice diary, looking back at your mistakes, and then like doing the whole process of like how am I gonna improve my thinking? How am I going to make sure this doesn't happen again, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. Usually what I do is I think I used to have a spreadsheet, but I got lazy in updating it a little bit. But I had a spreadsheet of my the questions I did, and then like what I did wrong about them, like my thinking where it went wrong. And then usually like I don't know why, like I just keep thinking, oh, it's just an edge case probably. Like I keep thinking like, oh, that question's just an edge case. Usually my thinking's good, so then I usually don't internalize it as good as I should. And then when I approach a entirely new problem, I can't seem quite to connect like problems together. Yeah, like from my previous knowledge into like applying it to new problems. Like I don't know how to approach like new problems I've never seen before as well, I guess.
Okay, do you mind showing me the diary that you had? I'm curious.
Okay, yeah, let me try and find it on one of my Google accounts. Okay, it's not okay. So it's gonna look a bit weird, but I think I did find it.
Okay.
Let me try and find how to share the screen in a bit. Sorry, I kind of have like two windows on.
Yeah, take your time, man. No rush.
Yeah. Okay. I think I have it. Oh, you disabled screen sharing for.
Oh, did I? Okay, here. Let me enable that. Give me a sec.
Yeah, no worries.
There you go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Let me. Okay, I think I have the full screen. Give me a second. Okay, do you see it, sort of?
Yep. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I found this on like Google somewhere, right?
Oh, I see. I prefer you use mine, but that's fine. Okay, you have something.
Okay.
That's
yeah,
fine.
So,
Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, it's just like questions over here, like that I tried to do, but unfortunately not very well.
Okay, not bad. Okay.
But yeah, it's just basically like links over here too, and then that's, I mean.
Okay. What about your own approach? I think the comments are asking like what your own approach is. So show me one.
Okay.
Show me one where you grade yourself.
Okay. I grade myself. I usually just put it. I grade myself through the like questions I done on LeetCode, I guess. Then.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Show me that sheet.
Yeah. No. I don't have a sheet for it. For LeetCode. LeetCode is usually I just measure it by like the times.
I see.
Like
okay,
the submission times.
I know what's happening here. Okay, So what I'm gonna say is that have you tried doing my approach with like Grokking and EPI?
Yeah, I have done grokking and EPI. Unless you're preferring
Have you
something
tried
else.
keeping a diary for that?
Not like a personalized diary. I usually just like the pre-made spreadsheet sort of thing.
Okay. How about this? I'm gonna say try that for 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. Like use my resources, and for Grokking and EPI, I want you to really just for every single chapter or every single problem, look at the problem that you're doing, look at the solution, and then try to figure out like what you can do better. I think you've seen me do this on stream a few times with my clients. And there's a link. There's a sample link in my Discord, and there's a sample link in the Google Docs. Clone that, run that for 6 to 8 weeks on your attempts at EPI and grokking, and then call me back and see if you're approved by then.
Okay, yeah, sure, definitely.
So I'll go ahead and move this call over for, let's say,
how do you?
I'm just gonna reschedule it for March 1st.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Let me make sure. Oh, March 1st, Tuesday. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, Discord. And so I want you to try doing that yourself. In the meantime, start applying to jobs in the United States and see if you get any people to call you back.
Yeah, definitely. It's just like I feel like the visa thing is a big problem because I think a visa thing is a big problem.
I'm going to tell you, it's so much easier for Canadian to get a U.S. visa than Indian. So you're not actually going to be running into that issue with employment. And if it is, it's not even that big a deal. So you're fine on that front. The hard part I foresee is that you need to get the interviews to begin with, because it doesn't make sense for me to coach you if you can't get a call back. But if you can get like two FANG interviews like scheduled, or at least get them to call you back, then we're in business. But I want you to take these 2 months to at least try and do things yourself. And I like your enthusiasm. I like what I see. I like what I hear so far. But I want to see you actually give this a fair shake on your own, because in 2 months you might realize you might not need me, right? But I want you to actually give all the things you see me in my coaching session with R. You can watch all those sessions. You can see all the stuff we did, what I make him do, what he does. He records himself and does a replay. I want you to do all that in earnest on your own. And then in 2 months' time when we have that call again, I want you to show me everything that you worked on, and then I'll decide whether or not to take you on as a client.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. So the resources you mentioned, they're in the Discord, right?
Yeah, and ping me directly if you can't get them. But yeah, clone that sheet. Just do in that sheet that has examples as well. So now you know what to do, right?
Okay, yeah, definitely, yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Nothing else. Yeah, I guess it's really good talking to you. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, good luck on studying, and I'll see you in a few months.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Edbert. Have a nice stream.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year's too. Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Cheers.
Good. Nice guy. Let's see. All right. Well, I guess that's all the scheduled talks that I had for today. I'll answer any last-minute questions. I was able to. I started 3 days ago. I have not used the diary because I have no idea what to write in it. I usually have no idea how to solve it, so I just end up looking at the solution, and I can memorize answers. Okay, that's the wrong thing. So let me actually open up my Discord here, because I post all my resources here. I don't know why more people don't do this, but so if you go to my Discord, right, you'll see here I have the sample practice diary and past student study sheet. Just copy this, literally. Look at the way he records himself. He has a start date, end date, difficulty of the problem, what the approach was, and then he blows, and then he's takes a look at himself and says, hey, this was really fucking hard for me, I need to do this. I made this mistake. I diffed myself between the answer, and what I did, and then and I said, here's how I'm going to do things differently in the future, right? And so you can see here, here is the it's just a sample of all the stuff that he did, and you just need to do the exact same thing. And then this is a sample study sheet that I use for him. And then you can see here, we did some problems. You can see here, hey, this is what he did. Here's what we diffed, and then here's what some other issues are. So for instance, you need to test and bulletproof the design, be able to test the happy and unhappy cases, all this stuff. Honestly, it's not terribly difficult. I think that's the thing I want you to take away from this. There's not really too much here, but it's more so that you get yourself into this process of figuring out what you did, what steps you took, and then what steps the book took or the answer did, and then see where you diverged. And then see if that was reasonable, and then how you can, fix your train of thinking or the questions that you ask in order to be more in line with the books. That's really what we're doing here. We're trying to get our approach as close as possible to the other person's, not memorize the end state. We're trying to improve our problem-solving framework and approach in order to get there. Does that make sense? So yeah, these resources are free. So join the Discord, look in resources. It's gonna be here. So, Jack says I should do a room tour or desk setup video. I did like a house tour of my old, what's it called, of my old place. So that's actually available as a video. If you're interested in like how I try to set up my place, it's usually very simple and plain. It's not like anything like interesting really. It's just a very plain room and apartment. So let me actually link you that one. Anyway, yeah, so that's the house tour. Anyway, so with that, I guess we'll stop the stream. No other questions. Doesn't seem like there's any other questions. Thank you all for joining me. We'll be hopefully streaming next week. And hopefully that's, thank you all for joining me. Yeah, I already said that. Shit. We're looking to see if R can actually get Google to up-level him and how much progress he's made. And we'll know by then whether or not he's going to take that Google offer. So hopefully you guys come back, join me, and stick around. Other than that, have a good night, Happy New Year, and see you later.